just about moving forward, with gritted teeth and determination creasing our foreheads. Metamorphosis. It is more than just transformation. It is a radical change from one form to another. It is an uncomfortable process of life that moves through learning, evolving, and finally, the emergence of newness. Change is a balancing act between trusting the process and fearing the unknown. I want to share an idea with you today. The idea that while we may learn to live, just like how a student learns to write an exam or to garner a particular job, perhaps we live most gracefully when we make the conscious choice to live in our learning. Living in the processes of learning is a rather transformative experience. In nature, metamorphosis is most elegantly seen in butterflies emerging from their cocoons or jellyfish reverting back to an earlier form of life. But this dramatic change isn't confined to these creatures. It is innate in each and every one of us. And examples of metamorphosis are not found in transitional, fleeting ideas of success, but rather in journeys thoroughly sustained. Beethoven, a name synonymous with expertise in music, a musician, an amazing composer, made crucial decisions that determined the difference between stagnation and metamorphosis. Ludwig van Beethoven did not have an easy childhood. First, he was born in the 18th century with smallpox, the 30-year war, and even the plague. No Netflix, the horror. As a young man, he lost his mother to tuberculosis. And not long after, his lifelong bone condition and possible lead poisoning led to the loss of his hearing. So, he lost his hearing, an unimaginable tragedy that ordinarily would have ended the career of any musician. This was not the case for Beethoven. He evolved his way of composing by relying on vibrations and his own internal sense of music. For instance, during the premiere of his Ninth Symphony, he conducted alongside the orchestra, unaware that the music had ended until a musician turned him around to see the thunderous applause that the audience beheld. Imagine for a moment a whole auditorium celebrating something that you created and you can't even hear it. At that moment, he saw the fruit of all his hard work and he learned something. His metamorphosis was not just about overcoming struggle, but about learning, experimenting, and redefining the very person he became. Learning happened every step of the way. Now, Beethoven had what could have been a potential drawback to end his career completely. And I did too, perhaps on a much, much smaller note. I have been a tennis player for over 10 years. While not completely professional, my love for the game remains constant. I feel at home on the tennis court. Life had other plans for me. Injuries after injuries. At 12, I had a problem with my foot. 2 years later, a cyst in my wrist. And just last year, a major problem with my back. Suddenly, I wasn't sure what I was doing, how I could manage my physical injuries and continue to play the game I so deeply loved. I felt dejected. I asked myself, should I stop doing something that I enjoy? Should I just quit? Quitting looked like the most straightforward solution then, but I felt that it was way too early. I was merely 16 years old, and I couldn't let a few problems define what my future had in store for me. So that led me to two choices. Either I take a step back, analyze, arrive at a solution, and then take action, or I give up altogether. Because anything else would have meant compromised play, and that would not have been sustainable. So, after long discussions, under the advice of my doctor, I took 3 months off of tennis. And trust me, this was the longest time I had spent without playing tennis ever since I was a child. But these 3 months turned out to be extremely valuable. I had the opportunity to manifest a new version of myself, where I changed these injuries into strengths. Now, this shift was not just about playing differently, it was about thinking differently. When it was with my foot, I changed the way I moved. When my wrist pulsed in pain every time I tried to hit a fast forehand, I changed my grip. And when my back was stiff and cramping, I changed the way I served. Now, was it easy for me to change these strokes that had become muscle memory for over 10 years? It definitely was not. But I knew that I had to do this to achieve the goal of continuing to play the game I loved. I would ask my family and friends to take videos of me, and I would sit up nights researching and comparing them to the strokes of professionals to see where I was going wrong and how I could improve. Now, this experience was not just limited to tennis. It changed my perspective completely. It changed how I approached learning music, my leadership, and taught me a new way to approach problem solving. And that is the thing about metamorphosis. It does not happen in isolation. It ripples through every aspect of your life, body, mind, soul. Anything I touched, I saw a completely new person. I used my time of reflection to understand the shades of change. And lo and behold, obstacles turned into opportunities. Plain moments, seemingly meaningless, turned into opportunities. I started a podcast not only to speak, but to listen. I designed a mascot to reiterate the spirit of many. I started research on income inequalities of women to see where I could implement real change in this world. Now, this dynamic shift was not because I had free time, but because I had the opportunity to explore different facets of myself, discover new interests, new skills, and that was learning. I realized that growth doesn't happen in one space. It happens everywhere, all the time. Learning is an ongoing experience, and every moment in your life, one way or another, is connected. So when I stepped back onto court, I did not just feel like a better player. I felt like a completely new person. And that is the power of metamorphosis. I'll be honest. There was still one area that I thought no experience could ever change. I had never been the kid who devoured books. You know, the ones who read for fun and randomly quote philosophers at age 10. Yeah, that wasn't me. And for the longest time, I believed that real learning came from textbooks. If it was not in bullet points, if it was not in a glossary, well, it just wasn't real learning. But one day, I decided to give it a shot. So I picked up open Andre Agassi's autobiography. Andre Agassi was one of the greatest tennis players of all time. And his story was not just about tennis. It was about evolution and metamorphosis. As a young lad, he had a forced, strict training regime by his father. Tennis was his life before he even knew it. Pushed by his father, beaten down by injuries, overwhelmed and frustrated, Agassi developed hatred toward the game and decided to quit. Yet, even at the lowest point of his life, he wanted to come back. And that he so gracefully did. He came back to being the oldest world number one in history at that time. But what is more special about this is that he didn't just come back to the game. He came back differently. He evolved beyond himself. When he was on break, he helped put his friends' children through school. And he realized that life had so much more to offer than just the sport. He opened himself up to a new plethora of experiences. And he did this by opening up the Andre Agassi Foundation for underprivileged children, where he mentored these young people. And if you're wondering, reading Open didn't immediately transform me into the tennis champion that I've always wanted to be. But it gave me perspective. Perspective to understand that when you learn, you grow. And when you grow, you relearn. Perspective to also, whenever I lose a match, I can just smile and say, well, Agassi hated tennis and lost some games too. Agassi's story also teaches us that metamorphosis is not limited to the individual level. It affects ideas, communities, and entire industries. Just like Agassi redefined tennis, metamorphosis can also happen when we redefine the limitations society places on us. Malisha Karwa's journey is another powerful testament to this. He was born in a Mumbai slum, surrounded by financial instability, limited educational resources, and an environment where dreams of success seemed distant. Yet, she did not let her circumstances define her future. When she was discovered by a Hollywood filmmaker, she went into the modeling industry. Despite having no prior experience, she embraced this opportunity. And the most beautiful thing about this is that her transformation was not just external, learning to walk the runway, pose for the cameras, and learn the business of fashion. It was internal. It was about self-worth and confidence. She overcame the biases of the modeling industry. Moreover, she became a symbol of representation for young girls who had never seen someone like themselves at the peak of fashion. But this is bigger than one story. Countless women face systemic barriers in access to education, healthcare, and financial independence. And my research on income disparity highlights how significant this problem is in today's world. Malisha Karwa's story also reinforces that it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is how you learn and adapt to the circumstances that life throws at you. Now, we often think of learning as something that happens in a classroom. While true, authentic learning, real learning, is constant. Amid triumph, struggle, or even when you're just laying in your bed thinking about what to do next. Each of these stories share a common thread: the power of metamorphosis. regeneration, rehabilitation, metamorphosis. Immerse yourself in experiences to emerge far stronger. To live is to learn, but to learn is to truly metamorphosize. So the next time life presents an obstacle or presents a moment seemingly meaningless, ask yourself, is this my end or is this my moment of metamorphosis? Thank you.